Hi, my name is Tricia. Today we're going to talk about life as a startup CEO and one of the many ways to start a company. Let's go! Hi, my name is Tricia. I'm the founder and CEO of 30-Minute MBA. We increase workplace engagement through actionable learning and cultural design. And today, we're here to talk to you about life as a startup CEO. I'm going to share some of the essence from when I started out. And that starting a company doesn't need to be in a certain formula. It doesn't need to be in a certain way. So I was 17 when I started my first business within management consulting. And the funny thing is that it took me almost 10 years to recognize that that might have been unusual. Because in my mind, especially when I was starting out, that I started that kind of firm at that age was not really something that I thought was unusual or strange. And neither did my environment. I was blessed enough to have incredible mentors and supporters around me. And that really made a difference in the beginning. Well, it's actually made a difference throughout my entire career. Now 15 or actually 16 years later, I'm still in this lifestyle. I'm still running companies and traveling the world as a speaker. But the thing is that when I started out, there were certain ideas, I guess, that you could expect that needed to be in place. One thing was that if you start a company, you need to have a business plan. Because a business plan is the essence of a company, right? Not really. The thing is that for me, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't even have a name when I started my business, my first business, that is. I started from the idea of helping my clients to grow, to do great things. And my first client was a private school, and I worked with their mentor program. I basically redesigned their mentor program, and I was blessed enough to have an incredible client, an incredible mentor that allowed me to experiment with this format. So I basically learned everything from how to build relationships, how to connect with people, and how to stand out in a noisy world. And then get people to say yes to be a mentor for a 2-year commitment. I ended up recruiting 80 mentors for 2 years, and 95% of them were C-level in Sweden. It was quite remarkable. And there were so many lessons in that experience, starting out like that. I knew that I was passionate about what I was doing, and I was willing to work really hard. But I also, as I said, had amazing guidance. And I think this is a core component for us as founders on our journey. To have people that inspire us, people to look up to, people to guide us, especially when we are figuring things out for the first time. I remember the first call I was supposed to have with a potential mentor. I was sitting in an office, the office of the founder of the school, actually. It was this old couch, English couch, and a big English desk, and I was sitting behind it, and the leader of the school, as well as my mentor, was sitting on the other side of the table to be there for moral support and to see if she could give me feedback after. But I was excited, but I was also a little bit worried. I wasn't so worried about what the other person on the side would say. I was prepared. I had different variations on how I could deal with different questions, and I knew really well what I represented and the benefits for the mentor and the mentee and the school and all of that. So I really knew what I was supposed to say, but I was also a little bit concerned about impressing my mentor. So it's funny, she was there, and I didn't tell her this. I actually never told her this, but in that moment, my nervousness came from that I really wanted to impress her. And I was prepared for every possible answer besides one. The answer I wasn't prepared for when I called potential mentors was the answer yes. Yes, I know that sounds crazy because that was the whole point of calling them. And this was my first call. And the first person I called said yes. And he said yes really quickly. And I wasn't prepared for that. And so I remember being stunned in the moment and excited. And I basically wrapped up the call and said, so grateful, we're so excited to get started, and I will get back to you a bit later with some details in an email or something like that. So I saved it. But it was really funny because I was nervous because my mentor was in the room and I wanted to impress her. And when I got a yes on the first call, which is incredible, of course. I wasn't really prepared for that. So I guess there's a lot of lessons here. One is that sometimes when we are trying to impress someone, we are pushing ourselves outside the comfort zone. Of course, I've worked with things even before I started my first business in all kinds of areas. I organized big events for 300 to 500 people, this big dinners and weddings and things like that. And I worked for my grandfather's business. So I had done a lot of things before, but this was something new. And in that moment, putting myself on the spot, which it really felt like, and asking for feedback, asking for support from someone I admire when I did something for the first time was daunting and exciting and thrilling and everything wrapped into one. So, but doing that, of course, helps us grow. And the funny thing is that every call after that first call felt like a breeze. It felt so simple. Even if I didn't get yes, of course, all the time, I ended up getting yes about a third of the time, which is also incredible if you look at it from a statistical perspective. But the fact that the first call felt so daunting with my mentor in the room made every other call after that simple. Back then, so this is about 16 years ago, so back then, if you remember, you might not know that this used to exist, but there were still faxes in the office. And already back then, that was very old-fashioned and strange, and no one was really using them, besides the printer companies that was trying to sell things. But what I decided to do, together with the leader, was that why don't we utilize this machine? Because it was still a centerpiece, especially in the CEO's office, or the assistants of the CEO. So at this point, it was just standing there, and it was unutilized real estate, if you will. And no one was using it, but if they got something from it, of course they looked at it because it was so unusual. So we decided to put together a letter and then have some articles from the school showcasing what it was all about, and then utilize this strange machine to get their first attention, to get that first impression. And that turned out to be a very effective way of standing out. Of course, we can't really use that today, the fax is long gone, but sometimes it's about looking at, is there something around you that used to be something people used to do or use, but that thing has it's repurposed today. It's not the same thing anymore. It doesn't mean the same thing as it used to. And is there a way to do something that is unexpected, something different to stand out? The world is becoming more and more noisy, but there is also massive opportunity, of course. So for me in this situation, I basically used the fax as the first entry point, the first connection with these potential mentors over the 2 years I worked with the school. So the thing is, though, that there's so many things that you're told as an entrepreneur, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, or if you have been an entrepreneur for years, that you should do certain things, or that certain things are really important. And certain things are really important. But you also need to remember that depending on the reality the person is living in, they will give you advice and support from their reality. There's exceptions, of course, the professionals that have been in the field for a long time that are able to look at it from your perspective. But the point with this is that, in general, I would absolutely say that it's great to have a brand, to have a written business idea at least, and not necessarily starting out so broad that I did. because my business was literally a management consultancy firm, and then I had my clients. But I also co-created my business with the client, used design thinking, if you will, and worked with the client to really help them, to solve a problem they had, and to add a lot of value. So besides recruiting mentors, I also created a format, a new guide to the school to use going forward after that. And that was quite a remarkable experience and wonderful to do, even if I was young at the time. But the thing here is that there's a lot of lessons. One is that entrepreneurship is limitless, and time doesn't matter, age doesn't matter. Entrepreneurship is also democratic, but the fact that it doesn't matter if you are 19 or if you are 50, it doesn't matter. If you have something that you're passionate about, that you're fired up about, that you want to do, that you want to pursue, go after it. And break some rules in the process. Because if I can start a company within that space that usually focus on experience and age and still succeed, you can too, in whatever you are looking to pursue. The importance of having a support system and mentors, of course, is key. So seek out people that are sharing you on, that believe in you, that believe in your idea or your passions, that wants to be part of your journey and that really care about where you're going. It's a roller coaster. We all know that, and it's important to keep that in mind. It is a roller coaster. So the fact that you're stepping on this roller coaster, if you're starting a company, is something you need to acknowledge. And people around you will need to acknowledge that too, because it's a wild ride. There is incredible ups and there's challenging downs. So having people with same values and people that maybe even have been through this before is incredibly valuable. And it makes all the difference when you need to learn something new or experiment or figure out where to go next, because the road isn't always that easy. It's not always that easy to figure out if you should go left, right, or either just turn around and go in the opposite direction. We wanted to help you to kickstart your entrepreneurial career. And regardless if you've been in the field for years or if you are just starting out, we have a course for you. It's in a collaboration with Be Brilliant Academy, and it's basically how to build a purpose-driven startup from spark to product within 4 weeks. And it goes through some of these essence when it comes to entrepreneurship, how to co-design with the market, how to build something together with the market, how to focus on purpose and your team, the people. And of course also other aspects like how to build a brand and introduction to marketing and things like that. Because there's so many things you need to focus on, and it can be daunting. And I remember this from my own business 16 years ago. Just building a website back then was a challenge. It's simpler today. There's a lot of great tools out there. But of course you need to know what you're doing, but more importantly, why you're doing it. And back then for me, it was all about making a difference, building and adding value to people that shared the same values as I did. And I was blessed with having an incredible opportunity with working with this school and this specific mentor of mine. So if you want to check out the course, we will link that down below. As I said, it's with collaboration with Be Brilliant Academy, which I'm also the founder of. And we also want to wish you to consider what you're stepping on, that this is a roller coaster and it is an incredible ride. Running a company or running several or pursuing something entrepreneurial, it doesn't need to be that you are the CEO or the founder. Just being part of a startup today can be an incredible journey, and it allows you to use your creativity and passion in ways that wasn't really possible previously. Or maybe it was, but we didn't acknowledge it. So I want to leave you with that entrepreneurship is limitless, and the roller coaster that you're about to step on, if you're ready for it, is incredible. but be prepared that it's not a straight line. It's really something that's going to take you up and down, and it's going to bring you on an experience that is hard to even imagine at this point. So as always, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment down below on what you're most passionate about right now and how you are pursuing entrepreneurship in your life. And as always, achieve greatness. Bye.